This is a 2006 V70R. Recently, I decided to purchase the Chstek Android Auto head unit from AliExpress. Let's take a look at it. So assuming it wants to connect to Android Auto, you can usually expect around 10 to 15 seconds. I say usually because it's around 80% connectivity rate. As you can see, it's not going to connect right now. Now, if you're like anything like me, the reason for wanting to buy this is probably the aesthetic and the fact that it can give you the Android Auto capabilities. Now, this is an 11-inch screen. It looks fantastic. Because this is a Chinese head unit, of course the reliability is in question. And as of making this video right now, I would not recommend this until the manufacturer can fix these Android Auto connectivity issues. Now you can connect directly with a cable, so let's give that a go and see if it impacts or helps us in any way. So we're connected with the cable. No. It still will not connect. Now, this could be a phone issue. I have been in and out of this car a couple of times in the last hour to try and make videos. I'm going to reboot the phone and see if that makes any difference, and I'm going to reboot the head unit itself as well. While we're talking about rebooting, here's a couple of options that you can utilize with this new head unit. We have this scrolly bar, which allows us to change brightness. It allows us to reboot the head unit. And because this is Android Auto, or I'm sorry, Android enabled, it will give you the Android graphic when it boots up. Right. Now, I was actually planning to give you just a full video of it working and then installation, but actually I think this is realistic and more in line with what people want to see, an actual user review of the product. Honestly, the biggest appeal for this is Android Auto, and I can tell you it has worked, and there you go. It's connected currently with a wire, which I believe will not last. But anyway, this is the appeal of the head unit. Now, if this consistently worked, I would have no problem recommending this based on all of the other positive aspects of this head unit, such as the sound quality. I have the built-in amplifier in my car, which allows me to have the center channel, a subwoofer, and all 4 channels. It sounds excellent. With the built-in equalizer, I can tune this and make it sound better than the stock 850 HU head unit. The snappiness, the responsiveness, excellent. It's faster than it needs to be, for that matter. RAM, have not had any issues with that. I'm not going to go and watch YouTube and simultaneously multitask. I literally just want Android Auto. I also want to be able to make phone calls. This has an integrated microphone. Right now, my current issue with that is an echo. When I call somebody, they hear me multiple times with some kind of an echo. Haven't figured that out yet. It may be a combination of the microphone on my phone and in my car working simultaneously. Time will tell. You can see I have the lights tuned to the same color as the car. That's cool. You can change the colors here to anything you want. I may actually go with white because I think that would look really cool with this. We've got a volume knob, which is cool. We have a seek knob, which is cool. This also acts as a on and off for the screen. The fact that when I turn this off, it disconnects from Android Auto is very dumb. What else do we have? With this head unit, you have the ability of downloading specialty apps. So you can download things from their own app store or Google Play Store. I have YouTube, Waze, etc. You can use Google Maps if you don't want to use Android Auto. You have to pre-download the maps because 4G does not work in the United States. You can use the built-in GPS with pre-downloaded maps to navigate with this without traffic, real-time traffic updates. This would work great for me, honestly. The main screen, pretty useless. Haven't used any of this stuff. Can you customize it? Yes, I have not really played around with it. The built-in CAN controls work very well. I didn't have to do anything to set those up, and it even works when I open my door. I get a notification that says the door is open. You can also get some information from some apps like, I believe, Torque Pro, would allow you to display some OBD stuff on the screen. That would be pretty cool. and or like temperatures and whatnot. This is an Android head unit, so it looks very Androidy when you go into your settings, and it gives you the option to change pretty much anything you want. So with that, that's just a quick overview of the functionality and the layout. Fit and finish, excellent. I think this thing looks fantastic. It's very close to the same color of plastic. It looks OEM plus, and for that reason, I think this is a great option. Again, Android Auto being the limiting factor here. So let's dive into how to install this dang thing in your car if you decide you want it. What you're going to want to do is remove your trim surround, whether you've got an auto or a manual. It's the exact same situation. You got to remove this trim. There's a screw here and a screw here. Once you've removed both of those, you'll be able to pull this out. So let's go ahead and do that now. Just like that. And you got to carefully remove that. Mine, you can see, has been wrapped with felt to help eliminate some squeaks and rattles. It's actually helping. Right, so the screws are right here and right here. Those are actually Torx. Those are actually T25s. So we'll go ahead and get those two screws out. Once you've gotten those two screws out, you can easily just pull this guy straight out. Now, so we want to get this guy out, obviously. This is very dirty. I apologize for that. Let me grab a rag. Okay, so here's this. Now how do we get this out of here? I did this and I can't even remember. That's how. So there's 4 clips on each side, and this comes right out. Obviously, you gotta pull all that crap through. All right. I had a crux unit. So this is what's coming out. This old piece of crap. Actually, this is only like 2 years old, but it is a piece of crap. This is the old. This was working fine and frankly sounded better than this. And now this. What surprised me right off the bat was, first of all, the size of the screen. It's very large. There is like very little electronic on the back, like I was expecting something like that, but in reality, CD changer primarily in there. And here's what we got. I will put a link to the one that I purchased down below. I believe this was right around $300. It was not the most expensive, it was not the least expensive, it was middle of the road. I picked it because other people had picked this one, and frankly, I don't really know. There was too many options. So anyway, I'm reviewing that specific model. This particular one did not come with a reverse camera. I did not want a reverse camera. Others may choose to do so, and that will not be shown in this video. Sorry. So here's what you're getting. You're getting FM antenna. You're getting your antenna connector. This is a CAN sniffer, which is kind of cool. CAN decoder. So you're going to be able to see some CAN OBD stuff, I imagine. Don't know exactly. And then your main harness for some connector, speaker connectors. This is another speaker connector thing for one of the amp outputs. This guy here appears to be a SIM tray or possibly micro SD tray. Kind of neat, kind of odd, kind of neat. This has got a bunch of the other connectors on it. And then this goes into the bottom of the actual unit itself. I'll show you in a second. We have a USB plug. We have a microphone. Mine, I already have a microphone wired in, which I'm going to try first. But then if not, I will use this one. You get a GPS unit, which we're going to utilize, and you get your 4G unit, which I don't plan to have a SIM card in here, so I don't think I'm going to utilize this, but I'll test it. We'll try it. And then actually it came with a separate USB connector, I believe, depending upon which radio you got. I'm not entirely sure. So that's everything that comes in the box. Basically, we'll just install that into here and plumb all the wires in. Actually, wires in first, then put this in the box. But I might actually just go the route of testing these things in car first and then installing it. But I'll take you along for the ride here. So right off the bat, you've got this little clip tab, which is slotted in the back. And there is this guy here, and there's a cutout right here. So actually this needs to go in first. You put this in place, that guy slides into place, and then this sits in front of that. So you will need to remove the HVAC control. So on the back side, here we are. Let me show you a couple things. So we've got the first connector here on the left, or on, I guess that's on the left of the radio, right side. Just a heads up, these are a little tough to push in. You got to give them a little bit of extra effort, and just be careful, push them back and forth like that. The second one with our can sniffer, it seems to only fit in there, so that's where that one decided to go. Antenna. I actually don't think that I'm going to use either the I might actually use the GPS. We'll see. GPS, I was going to say the 4G antenna. I definitely don't have any use for that because I'm not going to be installing a SIM in this. But yeah, these other ones are just open. This is for your microphone here. And the microphone, I'm going to try, like I said, the one that's in the car first. So, oh yeah, and then there's this, which... This is for, it says camera. I don't have a camera, so we're not using that either. Okay, I see the first issue. So you do have to cut this. You got to trim this guy out. That's where your little pocket would have gone. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I double-sided taped something on there. We will probably need to take a fair amount of that out of there, so I'm actually just going to cut it with some snips. I know a lot of you really like precision, and I do too, but in a case like this, I don't really care that much. So we're going to have to remove quite a bit of this, as it turns out. Okay. Close. Gonna cut just a little bit more. Just break that. So that's what we've ended up with. It's like a nice chunk. Let's say an inch from the bottom, an inch from the top, and about an inch and a half down. Let's see. I think, yep, that'll do it. So you can see right there. It's clearing now. I'm just going to go ahead and tidy up the cables and double-sided tape this guy probably over here, like so, just so I can know that it's not going to flop around. Way more effective. I don't know if that's going to be enough. We'll see. And then that there. All right. It fits pretty dang well now. All the clips are in. You can see I didn't need to go as far back as I did, but that corner being cut, that relief needed to happen. So you could probably only go back 5 mil and be good. You've seen this side. I'll pull all this wiring through, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed too. So this actually helps hold it in place now, which is cool. Nice. All right, HVAC is installed. Right. Okay, so when that's installed, then you go ahead and put this thing on there. And this is kind of what's holding it all together. That's installed. The quality is pretty high. I mean, this plastic texture is slightly different. This is a little bit smoother and this is a little bit more textured. Maybe a little bit more gray on the HVAC controls, and this is more of a deep black. But it looks really close. I mean, that's sick. Let's be honest. All right, now we can put our screws in. Now just a heads up, once that's in there, you cannot get to anything in the back. You're not gonna get to like add your microphone. Well, your microphone you could add, but you're not gonna be able to add these USBs or anything like that. So just be aware of that. And to be clear, I did not add the USBs because I do not see any value in having them. I do not need to charge my phone through this head unit. I have an inverter in my car, and I will just use that as my primary method of charging my phone. I will never be plugging my phone in to the USB in order to do Android Auto. If that doesn't work, or if I can't, then I guess I'll be pulling this thing back out. But for now, yeah, this is how I'm planning to do. All right. Let's go put this in the car and see what it does. Okay, so we've got a bunch of connectors and things in here that we need to try and figure out what they do and what we don't need. Of course, we're gonna need this. If that's what goes down here. It goes one over. Right, so we've got this that plugs in there. This is our antenna. That's going to plug in there. And then now we've got to figure out, we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 7, 8. That is not going to work for that application. This is the right one here. I believe that one is going to be for nav. My car has factory nav. It don't know more though. Right, so that goes like that. You got to be really careful now. You got a touch screen there. You can't lean it on anything. Right, so we've got a lot of connectors here. And we got to try and figure out what all these do. All right, either I'm going to burn something or this is going to work. Wanted you to see what I'm doing here because this is ridiculous. A little bit of A, a little bit of B. I burned it. And it melted the solder, which is great. That's what we're looking for. I would solder right now, but my power is out. So we're using what we can use, what we have available to us right now. So I think that oh, nope, it was still wet. Fuck. Boy, that stinks. All right, I'm sure that worked. So I wanted to show you this. So this is the cable that goes to the CAN decoder. I've got that thing, by the way, taped on the wall over here. If you get one that's got the CAN decoder and you have an amp and all of that, you're going to get this set of cables that has the 4L out. This is for your rear speakers. Now, mine was wired incorrectly, and thanks to one of the guys on Facebook, he was able to help me out quickly. The red wire, as I showed you before, needs to be moved from the corner. So it would have been in, let's call it pin 1 over on this side, and I had to move it to pin 2 right underneath the white wire instead of under the green. Yours may not look exactly like mine in terms of coloring, but the wiring should be the same if you got this model. So you'll want to move your red wire over, and that will fix the issue that I was having, which was you'd plug in these rears and your sound would go to like just like white noise at 100% volume. It was enough to blow your speakers out. So anyway, and then you can plug this thing back in, which I will do off camera because it's kind of a pain. Other issues some have experienced, these may not be grounded. People have had to open these up, which I am not sure how you would do, to be honest. I had another one laying around because this one was humming like crazy. So this is the one that came with the kit. I threw that one out and used the one that I had laying around, and this one worked just fine. So, and then that is going to plug into your amp connector here. And then you'll have, you know, 2 that come off of the, so you got your green connector here. That's powering this power, and then we're actually going to wire the center channel into this one as well. I'll show you that in a second. All right, so in order to get the center channel working, what we're going to do is remove 2 wires from this plug here and add them to the green plug. So Volvo uses, for the center channel, on the back of this green plug, you can see the gray and gray with red. Those are for the center. Now, I believe, it's not entirely clear to me because I haven't looked this wiring diagram up yet, but I believe these 2 gray wires are going to be what we use for this. So we're going to depin this plug and then just add them to this plug. Doing this with one hand is very difficult, but here's what you got to do. So the connector in this orientation, I've got my little pin tool. You can use literally a pin. You just push the tool in like this, and then you can push your finger down, and there you go. The pin comes right out. So I've got both the gray wires out of here now. Yep, perfect. All right, so we can go ahead and get rid of this connector basically completely. And then we're going to add these wires to the green pit plug. Gray with black is here. And our little connecting pin goes up Slide that in, and that's in place. Now we'll do this one as well. And you'll just hear it click. There it is. All right. So now this has been repinned. We can reinstall the plugs and test the center channel out. I'll show you that in a moment. So, all right, I've separated a bunch of wires to give you a better idea what's going on here. I apologize that this is in the car, but I've got it connected. So I pulled out what you need. So we've got microphone connector. That's going to get connected to the car that I've already got one in here. You've got 4 RCA connectors. So if you've got a 4-channel, you're going to need your, like I do with the amplifier, you're going to need 4 RCAs. Your power wire, this is for turning on your amplifier. This needs to be connected. This goes to your amp connector, which again is this guy right here. This connector. I just wired in my GPS antenna. I decided that I might use GPS at some point, so that goes down to the GPS port on the radio. And then I actually wired through and up underneath to right here. It has sticky tape. I connected it underneath the dashboard right there, and then I'll just pop this thing back into place after the fact. In order to get this out, you can just put this. It does seem a little sketchy, I promise it is not. And I'll do it for you live. You just go like this. You go. You just pry right in there, and it pops right out. And then you just give it a pull. There you go. That's how you remove that. So you're not going to need, in this particular application, this is a V70R 2006. It's got the amp. This green connector, this is for subwoofer. These are aux ins. You could use these if you wanted to do some kind of an RCA aux in. There's a couple of these CVBS ins. I think these are again for video in. Maybe you could wire in a PlayStation or something. That'd be cool. And then, like I said, your green connector, that's got your now 2 center channel wires going to it. Your radio, you've got your adapter that goes to the car's radio adapter. And then this end plugs in to antenna down there. So in order to get the radio in, push all of the junk into the opening in the actual back of the radio housing. And then I'll just show you while I'm doing it. Wide angle here. So then you should be able to just push this thing in at the top first, like so, and then you push the bottom in. And you want to make sure you're covering your stuff here because you don't want to scratch like I did. Oh, look at how bad I scratched it. It was perfect. Damn it, man. Same thing over here. Gonna have to go ahead and find a replacement.